Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my new makeup releases for March. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is my monthly video where I give an overview of all of the makeup releases that stood out to me. I ask myself the question, will I buy this? Is this right for me? Is this something I would like to get my hands on? And that's how we make our way through all of these new releases. There are yet again a million different blushes that have been announced, and still lip oils. What? We don't need any more. So if I'm too negative again for you guys in this video, I do apologize in advance, but there's currently not much that is standing out to me in the world of makeup. It's all so similar, and it's so similar to things I already have. And I just decluttered my makeup the other day, and it's just giving me so much headspace, and I just want to use my favorite products. And I don't really want to add too many new things to the collection because I just really like where it stands. I have so many beautiful things. So I think it's going to be a lot of no's for me. So I just want to preface that at the start of the video. I have 40-ish new releases to chat about with you guys. So let's just get going. This was announced right on the cusp of me filming my February makeup releases. This is announced from Sephora. It's the Blush Glaze. Does this sound like something I might really like? Yes, but the shade range. There is one that's a little bit more plummy. That looks really beautiful to me. I think it's Moon O'Clock. That looks like something that I would want to get down with. But the rest of these shades are just the same as everybody else's releases. Like, that's been a thing as well. We get so many blush releases and it's always the same 6 shades. There's always the bright pink. There's always some like reddish tone lately. And then just a bunch of peachy neutral things, which it's also warm toned and it's also similar. Why? So this is not wholly unique enough to me to want to go out and buy this. So this is a pass for me. This is something that Lethal Cosmetics has announced, but this is not coming until May. So I don't even know what this is exactly going to be, but they're working on something new, and it's this cartoonish. Why does this remind me of a cartoon I used to watch as a kid? Like this like castle thing, it really reminds me of a cartoon I watched when I was a kid in the 80s. So I hope it's cute. I haven't bought anything from Lethal Cosmetics in such a long time. Like, such a long time. I really should be into that brand perhaps a little bit more. I mainly have some of their single shadows. Those were some of my favorites by them. And I did reorganize that a little bit in my eyeshadow single declutter because I had them in this giant Coastal Scents palette. But they didn't quite fit, so there were always shades falling out, so I've now organized it in a way that works a bit better with my brain. Morphe has announced something new. It's been a while since we had anything newly announced from Morphe, I feel. This is the Forbidden Fruit collection. Nothing here stands out to me. Like, nothing. The eyeshadow palettes look bland. They just don't really appeal to me. And I think they have some sort of lip product, which looks like everything we've already seen. And then there's more new lip stuff, and then they have this like lip liner thing. Is this on trend? Yes. Is this something that I need in my life? No, I just don't. Then we're going to see a couple of announcements from Essence and Catrice for their limited edition drops. So Essence, I think for Valentine's Day, did this Kiss on the Cheeks lip and cheek stick. It's glittery, it looks gimmicky. This doesn't look like anything anyone would ever need in their life. Maybe my niece. She's going to be 8 in March, and she loves these kind of things. Like, if it's sparkly and it's heart-shaped, like, for a kid, this makes sense. But for the average makeup wearer, it just doesn't. And that's something that I do think we're going to get more of now that makeup and beauty brands have just found a new market with all of these tweens and kiddos who are starting to buy really expensive products. I think we're going to see more of these releases that would appeal to a younger audience. I just think that might actually be something that's happening already. Makeup Revolution has a new liquid lipstick. This is the Air Blur Matte Liquid Lipstick. I don't love liquid lipstick anymore. I have a few from Lisa Eldridge, and that's what I stick to. Other than that, I just prefer a bullet lipstick or a lip stain. Like if I want to go long wearing lips nowadays, I'll opt for a lip stain because it's far more comfortable than these truly liquid lipsticks. Victoria Beckham has come out with a new eyeshadow palette. I think it's actually a re-release because it looks like you can now buy the pan and then the refill for the eyeshadows that they already did. However, they have a blue tone one, which looks very similar to the blue tone one in Royal that they already did, but it's now called Navy Noir. And then they have one that's called Victoria, there's one called Olive, and there's one called Night Flash. Color story wise, these do not look that different from what they already did, but what is different is that there are now dividers between the pans, because previously what Victoria Beckham eyeshadow does is that it's one pan with 4 different shades of powder pressed into it, which if you break it, that's it. That's the end of your eyeshadow because the entire pan is going to crack, of course. So I think this is a good update for them. This is just something that I think a lot of people wanted. And these are also refillable. But I think that you buy the refill as a tray and not as a single pan, which is a bit... But yeah, this does make sense for the brand because for how expensive they are, and A, not have it be refillable, and B... have all the shades in one pan with the, risk of breaking it completely. It's just not going to fly. It's not going to fly. And I didn't say anything about whether I need the Victoria Beckham stuff, but I already have 2 of the eyeshadow palettes that are still in the old format. So I'm going to hang on to those. I don't need this new thing. Fenty Beauty has come out with a new gloss balm stick, the shimmer version. I think we already got the creamy ones without the shimmer, and now they do this high shine shimmer. There are 6 shades, 3 of which are incredibly mediocre and probably very wearable to a lot of people. There's a bright pink, this like purpley thing, and then a really nice deep dark brown shade. These look really pretty. I think the purpley shade is Icy Amethyst, and that's something that I am sort of interested in, you could say. But when I look at the lip swatches for these, they seem to be very sheer. So that's why I'm a little on the fence about these. But Fenty Beauty can do good products. I have a couple of their lip products that I do enjoy, so this looks okay. This is a new release from Lancome. This is the Teint Idole Ultra Wear Compact Setting Powder. And when I first looked at these images, I was like, is Becca back? Like, it looks like the Becca highlighters, but I think the little circle in the middle is actually a window so you can see inside the product. At least that's what it looks like in some of these images. But yeah, I think that that's really, really pretty from Lancome. Do I need this in my life? No, I'm not a powder person, so I still have plenty of powder in my makeup collection to see me through for the next couple of years, so I'm not in the market for a new powder. I think I already mentioned these, but they have now truly launched the new Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes, and so many people have been commenting about how cheap these look, packaging-wise, because it's just a clear plastic case that these come in, and for a brand like Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm not sure, yeah, these are $60, which is so much money for something to come in ColourPop packaging, because these look and feel the way I've seen them being presented on TikTok, even in Charlotte Tilbury promo pictures. They look and feel like ColourPop palettes. Do they look pretty though, like in the swatches? Yes, there's this really nice light pinky toned one, a really nice richy green one, there's a warmer pink toned one, there's a true warm tone, and there seems to be something that's like a little bit more cool toned as well, but that still has warm toned shimmers in, so that's why I will not be picking any of these up. It's so expensive, it's just not something that I needed from this brand at this price point with this kind of packaging. We've had monochromatic eyeshadow palettes in the past, and they were never my favorites. So for me, this is a no. I've read it just a touch because I think that's a little bit better. Moira has a new Celestial eyeshadow palette collection out. It comes with a beautiful cool tone color story that's pretty gray toned, so that's really nice. These retail for $18.50 each. I think this is beautiful. If you're looking for Moira, there are some EU retailers that do stock them, so you don't have to buy them from the official website if you don't want to. Here in the Netherlands, I can find them on boozyshop.nl, and I know that there are some EU retailers, other EU retailers that stock them as well. These are pretty. I tried the brand for the first time in 2024, I should say, at least one of their bigger palettes, but I like their singles better than I do their eyeshadow palettes. So this is a no for me, but if you've never tried Moira and you're looking for an affordable eyeshadow palette, then they can do a pretty good thing, I would say. Like, I would pick this over the Charlotte Tilbury stuff if I were to, like, if I really felt I needed something new. Something I also don't need is a new skin tint, but Milk has come out with their Hydrop Grip Gel Tint. This has been getting pretty good reviews. There are only 15 shades though, so finding a shade match for me could be very difficult, even though shade 1 or 2 seem to be okay for what I'm looking for. I would have to swatch this in store for it to be something that I would want to make my mind up on. So if I get this, it's not going to be until later in the year when I can actually find myself near a Milk counter. Milk is not a brand sold in stores where I live. I need to travel to find them. So I won't be traveling as much as I did in 2024. So this is definitely one that goes onto the back burner. Like, if there's a lot of hype for this and a lot of people end up loving it, I may want to try it as well. But I still have so many foundations to get through that this is, again, not a priority for me. NYX has a new highlighter fitting with their Butter Meld range. So they already did blushes and bronzers, and now they do the highlighter. I still need to test out my bronzer and highlighter. Or blush, I should say. Those seem nice. They seem to be very pigmented though. The formula does remind me a little bit of what we got in the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. It's just less powdery. It's almost like a cream to powder kind of thing. But in terms of like the way it slips between your fingers, that really reminds me of the Physicians Formula. So this makes sense from them. It looks really pretty. I don't know how many shades there will be. At the moment this was announced, there were no shades announcement yet. It was just the product being announced. If I look at how long it took for the NYX Butter Melt bronzers and blushes to become available within the EU and the UK, then we had to wait almost 6 months for these to come. So even though this is announced now, I probably won't be able to pick it up until the end of the year. And I would only pick up this highlighter if I like my bronzer and my blush. Rare Beauty has come out with the Soft Pinch Matte Bouncy Blush. It's a limited drop, and it's going to roll out a little bit more later. It's one of those putty sort of blush formulas that's essentially a cream to powder. So this reminds me of something like the Stila. Stila had that already, that putty sort of thing. I've tried one from a K-Beauty brand that I really liked. But what ended up happening to mine with the K-Beauty is that after a while I was like pressing my fingers into it to try and pick up product, and I would just be pushing the product around, and I wasn't getting a lot of the product anymore. And Rare Beauty is a brand that seems to be doing a lot of K-Beauty dupes. Like, a lot of Rare Beauty is made in Korea as well, but they seem to be taking the K-Beauty formulas and then releasing it in shades that appeal more to Western shoppers. That's just what the entire brand seems to be doing. There are some shades here that I kind of like the look of, but again, nothing wows me. If I look at the swatches on fair skin, I'm like, no. Just no. I have Hope and Encourage in the liquid version, and I have Nearly Rose already in the cream formula they did previously. So I have what I think I want to have. I don't need any of these. Are these pretty? Yes. Do I like Rare Beauty as a brand? Also yes, but the shade range doesn't wow me, and this kind of formula, I do have my doubts about it. This is a glossy lip balm from LYS with a little triangular packaging. That's what they're known for. These look pretty, but it's like a lip gloss in a stick. Not so sure I love that. These seem very sheer. They seem to be like a little bit of a plumping action there. These are $19. LYS is incredibly hard to buy if you're in Europe, because the only place I've ever found them at is Cult Beauty, and everything sells out super quickly and it's hardly ever restocked. So I tried a couple of the products very early on when people first started raving about them, but They are also aimed more so at deeper skin tones than mine, because they are a black-owned brand as far as I know. So the products aren't necessarily aimed at me, and that's just something you need to realize sometimes, that something just wasn't made for you. So that's why LYS isn't something that I'm really raving about, even though they do really good products. It was all so pigmented that on my fair skin, it just didn't look right. Tarte is releasing a new creaseless glow skin filter. So their version of the Hollywood Flawless Filter, I think. That's what they seem to be doing. Like, has Tarte just become the ultimate dupe brand? Like, first we got the MAC Squirt glosses, and then Tarte did a version that actually became more popular than the MAC ones, I feel. It's not exactly a brand that's truly at the forefront of innovation anymore, I feel. This is something I don't need. I have a version of this by Catrice that I really, really like, so I don't need to keep this around. Morgan Turner has a collab with Odin's Eye. I'm not sure if you can still buy this, but it's always good to see a creator do a collab with a brand that we all love. I've stopped buying a lot of Odin's Eye because I didn't love the quality of some of the eyeshadow palettes that I got from them a little bit later. And this, it's a Valentine's Day release, so it's pinks with cool tones. Pinks for Valentine's Day, how revolutionary. So this, to me, I don't know. I don't feel wowed by this. I don't feel like, ooh, I need to go out and grab this or anything like that. So if I were to, because this color story looks pretty similar to that après-ski release from Nomad, that one is still in my brain. Like, that's one where I'm like, Nomad, I may be in the market for a new eyeshadow palette at the end of March, so maybe I'm going to be buying that, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So maybe something else pops up in the meantime that I want to get more, I don't know. But at the minute, that's like the only eyeshadow palette that's still on the wish list, which is crazy to me, because usually I have tons of palettes I would like to buy, but I'm pretty much caught up with all of the new releases and what's out there. Westman Atelier has a bronzing drop products. I hear a lot of people raving about Westman Atelier, and I have been able to find them in Sephora in France a couple of times, but every single time I'm in front of that gondola and I swatch things, I'm like, but this is exactly like everything else I've ever touched. Like, it doesn't seem to deserve the hype that I see a lot of people giving it. Maybe I just haven't found the right product from this yet, but I don't know. The line just doesn't really interest me, and they're really expensive. Like, they're one of the more luxury brands that you can find, and I think they're also clean beauty, so it probably is going to expire really quickly, and I have just found that that's just not worth my money anymore. Like, if you're charging this much money, at least put some good preservatives in. It's not that clean beauty doesn't use preservatives at all, it's just that they use preservatives that aren't as long lasting as your like standard silicones and parabens and all that stuff. So I'd rather have my makeup last because I have a larger makeup collection. I just need my makeup to be able to sit there for years to be able to film content with it mainly. Then ColourPop has come out with a new foundation. This is from their Pretty Fresh range. I have tried so many base products from ColourPop over the years, and none of them have been right for me. So this is something I'm going to skip for sure. Not because I don't like this release from ColourPop. I think it's a good release from them. Foundation sticks really seem to be having a moment at the minute. We've got something similarly from both Essence and Catrice in their Spring/Summer 2025 updates, which I have been testing out. And I just realized again why I do not like foundation stick-like products. It's just not really something that works very well with my dry skin, even though this says Pretty Fresh and it is their more hydrating formula. I've just not found anything from ColourPop that I truly love in like their concealers and their foundations. The shade range seems to be decent, so that's okay, but I don't know why. I know a lot of people like these for on-the-go or easy application. It's just not something I've ever really liked using. Then we have the Tower 28 Get Set Blur and Set Matte Powder Blush. So a lot of people are comparing these to the Rare Beauty, but the Rare Beauty is a putty cream to powder, but these are just matte. So they're matte powder blushes. So why are people comparing them? I don't think these are supposed to be like a putty cream to powder, so why They do look very similarly, like from the packaging to the shade you get, it looks almost identical, but that's been the case, as I said in the intro, for so many of the blush releases that we've had in recent years. So I don't know why people all of a sudden pick these two to compare them just because they look like they're in similar packaging. They're completely different formulas. Formula-wise, I think the Rare Beauty is going to be my favorite. I do have a Tower 28 blush from their cream blush range. I like it. It's really nice, but this range just really needs some work because it's essentially like 2 brighter pinks and like 4 brown tones. And one is a bit more orange. Nah. Next! Blend Bunny has a new palette coming out. This is supposed to be like the deeper, grungy, what happens if you chase a mermaid down into the waters kind of inspiration. That's what I've been told. Now I don't know. Oh, it's called Beauty Below. I had forgotten the name of this thing. And this looks stunning. But it also looks stunning for people who aren't me. I think this is a beautiful, deep, gorgeously grungy color story, but I think it's too deep. There are too many dark shades here for me to really, really love this. Some of the shimmers in here seem to be appealing. Like there are some like silvery, taupey things in here that grab my attention, but the overall matte situation we get here is quite dark, and I don't love very, very dark tones. They're all going to look the same to me. So that's why I'm saying I definitely think this is a good palette for Blend Bunny, but it's not great for me. But I think if you have medium to deep skin, you may love this. If you've never tried Blend Bunny, this may be a good one for you, but for me, this is not going to be a priority. MAC is coming out with lip kits. They have been re-releasing their entire lipstick line, so of course they had to do some lip kits. And some of these, I think I could, like, I think I already own these. There is a Velvet Teddy combination. There's a Thanks It's MAC combination. Mare, Creme in Your Coffee, Ruby Woo, and Truth Be Untold. And from what I could tell, yes, so the Mare combination comes with Soar lip liner. I have Mare lipstick and I have Soar lip liner. So the one that stands out here to me is the one I already own. So I don't need any lip kits from MAC, but if you were looking to try some MAC lipsticks, this could be good for you, I think. Then Viseart is coming out with a new matte palette, the Paris Matte Étendue, and this is so smart for them because I think they did the Paris Edit a couple of years ago, and that was an all like satiny shimmer, so for them to come out with a matte version that goes really well with that color story makes so much sense for the brand. This looks really light. I think there are going to be loads of people who are going to love this. If you like your cooler neutrals, if you like your light tones, I think you might like this. Yes, there's warmth, but it's not overly warm tones, you could say, and they seem to go together really, really well. So if you already have the Paris Edit, and you have this, I think you can do a lot of great looks. I'm not a lover of all matte palettes, though, so I'm going to be skipping this one, because it is as pretty as it is. I know I won't get the use out of this. There's a new Game Beauty and Street Fighter collaboration, which makes so much sense because, of course, Game Beauty is video game inspired. So for them to do a release with a video game franchise as Street Fighter, I think makes a lot of sense. Fun fact about me, one of my favorite video games playing growing up was Super Street Fighter Turbo 2. I think that's what it was called. Together with my brother, we would play this on our Super Nintendo. It's so nostalgic that I actually bought it when I had a Wii. I still have it somewhere. I actually bought it with my Nintendo Store points to have it on my Wii, and it was so nostalgic, and it's so great. But none of these products appeal to me. I would buy it for nostalgia only, but I don't need these. I really don't. Even though Game Beauty does do some wonderful things, like they do beautiful products. I have a few of their eyeshadow palettes. This next release from Catrice, I got some questions on Instagram in my DMs, like, hey, are you picking this up? They came out with a limited edition collection called Perfection, and it had these two highlighters in, which, is it Rare Beauty or is it Catrice? But Catrice isn't the only brand that's duping Rare Beauty. But yeah, these are highlighters, and both shades of these highlighters looked very warm toned, and I have the one in Enlighten from Rare Beauty that's far more white based and cool toned leaning than these two looked. These were very popular and they sold out immediately. Of course, people want to, like, people just want this because it is so like similar to the Rare Beauty stuff. People wanted to, of course, like, were asking me like, hey, how similar will you think these are? So people were DMing me and leaving me messages like asking how similar do you think these will be to the Rare Beauty stuff. I think they look pretty similar. Catrice also in their like standard line has been doing some pretty good dupes, sometimes even better than the high-end thing, but these are limited edition. However, if these did this well, my prediction is that in the fall winter collection that we're getting in like around August time, we may get these as part of a permanent line. Maybe not in this pretty packaging, but this kind of formula, we may be getting it like a little bit more permanently, because that's the way I feel Catrice kind of works. They do a limited edition collection every 6 months, and I feel like they use that to test what will do well. And then when they do their collection updates every 6 months, the products that disappear are the things that didn't sell very well very often, and then they bring in new product that where they just try to tap in more of the hype. So I think this is going to have a longer lasting, I think this is going to show up either in a new limited edition collection from Catrice sometime in the future, or it's going to end up in the permanent line. I think that may actually be the case, because some of the K-beauty dupes that Catrice now does has been happening in limited edition collections for some time, and now we're getting it as part of the regular range. So I think this may happen there as well. They will probably just put it in like their regular plastic compacts and not in these pretty almost egg-shaped things that Rare Beauty also does. Yeah, these are beautiful. I don't need them in my life. I have the Rare Beauty. I have plenty of highlighters from Catrice that I like, so I didn't need this in my life. Especially the tones don't look right. And if you did miss out on the Catrice stuff, just know that Kiko is actually doing something very, very similarly in a second. So this is part 1 of the Kiko Dreamphoria collection. It comes with an eyeshadow palette, some lipsticks, some lip glosses. This is pretty standard from Kiko. Kiko is another brand that does a lot of limited edition collections, and what I have found with a lot of their limited edition collections is that it's not as good as their regular range. The shades very often don't work for me, so that's why I've stopped reviewing a lot of the limited edition stuff. Same thing for Essence and Catrice. A lot of it isn't quite right for me. I get caught up in the hype, and they would always be instant declutters for me, and I would never keep it around in my day-to-day makeup collection, so that was always such a shame. Now we're getting a little bit dark again, so I need to do this. So that's why I have stopped buying Kiko Milano limited edition stuff unless I'm super duper stoked for it. This I wasn't. So this is just the eyeshadow palettes. And then there's this. So remember what I said about Catrice duping Rare Beauty? Kiko does it as well. I do think it's only 2 shades though, and these are the Glow Up Beautifier. It's a compact powder that should go onto your skin like a liquid and still be silky, whatever. I'm not sure if this is just supposed to be a highlighter. It could be that the lighter shade is a highlighter for light skin and the deeper shade is meant to be a blush. I don't know how this works, but this looks also incredibly warm toned, which is why I decided to skip out on these. But Catrice isn't the only one that's duping Rare Beauty, because Kiko is doing the same thing. Oh well. Then I've only seen the announcement for this. Again, what's up with the mermaid themes? We get a mermaid themed palette from Blend Bunny, and we're getting one from Gourmand Girls. Oh, it's really a thing here. This is the Call of the Sirens. It's another Doodles by the Bunny or with the Bunny. I never know the Instagram handle for real, but it's another collab between them, and they're doing another palette. So this should be coming soon. And maybe by the time this video goes up, because I am filming it a couple of days in advance, the color story may have been announced, but if not, then I'm just going to talk about it in my April new makeup releases. MAC is coming out with a new strobe cream collection. I love MAC strobe cream. It's one of my favorite things. It makes for a really, really good base. But this comes now in a blush and a moisturizing cream that's also supposed to be a highlighter. Interesting for sure. Did I need this from MAC? No. The blushes all look incredibly similar. It really doesn't look like anything too special. But yeah, this has some really beautiful, beautiful looks to it, I think. But I really didn't need this. Just give me the strobe cream and I'm happy. I don't need like an entire collection of strobe cream-like products. But then in like a blush and I don't need that. I really don't. There is a new loose powder from Kosas. This is their Cloud Set loose powder. I still need to get to my powder, like the pressed powder version, so I haven't even tested that out. So I'm not in the market yet for this kind of product. I also don't really love loose powder. I do have dry skin. I feel it's very easy to over apply powder when you do use a loose powder, so that's why loose setting powders are not my cup of tea. So I will be skipping this one for real. Artitude Cosmetics has a new product out, the Ink and Roses. This was another Valentine's Day release. It has some pinks, some green tones. This looks very similar to the Odin's Eye and Morgan Turner collab. Again, what's going on with these brands? They all seem to be doing the same things again. I can already report to you that I will be trying Artitude Cosmetics for you very, very soon, because I did buy one of the neutral palettes that finally came to Monolith. So I think it was called the Urban Neutrals, like Vintage Urban Neutrals or something like that, that I will be testing out to see if I like the quality. If I like that, this may be a contender to be picked up later, but again, it's not a priority. And I'm like, I now have a palette from the brand that looks like it's going to be very much up my street, and if I like it, I'm just going to stick to that, and I'm going to be happy. More new blushes then. These are from Say. I've heard a lot of people talking about these, that they like the look of these. It comes with like a nice bright pink, like a rusty orange, like a more of a dusty pink, a peachy tone, some sort of like berry mauve tint thing, and then like a bright pink. And I'm like, I didn't need this. I really, really do not. It again looks the same. It's the same 6 shades that every single brand does. Is this it's a powder blush, but it's talc free. It's called the Super Suede talc free powder blush from Say. If you're in the market for a new blush, you may like this. But none of these shades look like unique and different for something that I would want to get in my makeup collection. I have plenty of blush, as you'll see. When you see my declutters in March, you know. And I was a good girl. I've culled, I think, half of my blush collection. So I'm feeling good there. YSL, the Love Shine Plumping Oil Gloss. A lip oil, revolutionary, from YSL this time. The purpley tone looks nice, but it's a lip oil. It's not supposed to look like anything on your lips. So again, I don't need this in my life either. I have plenty of lip oils. They suffice just fine. I don't need it from YSL. Something I am excited for then, I think this is the first like truly positive thing that I'm just super duper intrigued by, and that is that the Ordinary is relaunching their serum foundation. They discontinued this years ago. I went through an entire bottle of this back in the day. Don't remember what shade I owned, but they seem to be doing a really good shade range yet again. I think there are like 40 or 41 shades. Like this is up on the list. Like this is something I would like to own again. I loved that foundation. It was so good. But by the time I used it up, it was discontinued and I could not repurchase it. Do I need to repurchase it now with the amount of foundation I have in my life? No, but I would like to see if I like this as much as I used to. I would just be very curious. But yeah, this still comes in the same packaging. I would just want to look up what shade I had before, and that's probably the shade I'm gonna buy. More new limited edition stuff from Essence this time. And I looked up that highlighter with the little bow imprint, and I was like, Colourgram who? Because this looks exactly like the Milk Bling highlighter that I bought from Colourgram. It just doesn't have an imprint of a bow, it has a heart. So yeah, Essence is yet again duping K-beauty brands here, which I'm like, okay, I see what you did there, Essence. But yeah, this is not something that I need. Is it cute for spring? Yes. Do I need it? no. Something that I also don't need, and that just made me go, why, the minute I saw it, is the Natasha Denona Bloom palette. I thought that these peachy pink tones were over. Like this, and in the promo pictures, it still looks like it's got some pink. But then I look at it in the low lighting images that are added here, and I'm like, it looks straight up orange. So this is a big, big no for me. I'm definitely not going to be picking this up. This is far too warm toned. I have things that look just like this already in my collection that I would like to hang on to, but I don't need this again from Natasha Denona. I just don't. I just don't. NARS has a new collection out. This is the First Access collection, I think. It's a resort-inspired collection. It should be out on March 1st. There seem to be eyeshadow sticks. There's, I think, blush palettes. I think that's what they are. And then some, like, lip products. Yeah, lip products. And this seems to be getting quite a bit of hype from some people. And I just look at this and I go, why? I mean, it's again the same things that NARS has done for years. It does come with fun stripy packaging, but that's about it. That's about it. Glossier has a new fragrance out. This is You Fleur, which, I mean, okay. I've smelled You perfume in store, but everybody's raving about how much they like it, and I smelled it and I was like, this is not my cup of tea. This seems to have a mineral salt accord as its top note. Then the heart notes has some like osmanthus, I don't know what that is, ylang-ylang, cashmere, and apricot skin. And then the base note has ambrox. The salt accord appeals to me, but the rest of it, I'm not, like, it almost sounds like from the notes that it's like one of those sort of like beach inspired sort of things. So for summer, this may be nice. Yeah, it does say that this is going to smell differently on everyone. So it's like Molecule 01, where it's like supposed to work with your skin chemistry and smell differently. I would want to smell this before I bought it, but the original You fragrance also didn't grasp me. Then the collection where I'm like, why are we getting this? Pat McGrath and Candy Crush? Like, if there's two brands I had not clocked as going together, it's Pat McGrath and Candy Crush. I haven't seen a lot of the products yet, but just on the basis of that alone, I'm like, no, Pat, thank you very much. I don't need that in my life. Something that I'm sort of intrigued by, but mainly because one of my favorite highlighters has expired, and I would want that sort of product in a stick form again in my makeup collection, but I was gonna just repurchase that. It's the Glossier Halo Scope in Quartz. But now that I've seen that House Labs is doing the Bio Radiant Glassy Highlighter Balm, I'm like, there are two pretty much like white looking shades. One is a little bit more clear, it seems. The other one seems to have a bit more of a base. So there is, let me see what these shades are called, Pure Glass and Glassy Opal. And both of them, I think, are going to be lovely on my skin to give that sort of glass look effect, which is what I always liked about my Glossier Halo Scope. But that one just started to smell like Play-Doh. The last time I opened it, it really smelled terrible. So I do want that product again in my life because I love it in the summertime especially. So yeah, this is definitely a contender for something that I would want to purchase from House Labs because it probably goes with the blush stick a lot, like really well that I have. And that looks really beautiful once it's on. I just don't love the application for it. But yeah, maybe buy this instead of the Glossier. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'm just going to repurchase that. There are some new shades in the Huda Beauty Blush Filter liquid blushes. These are pretty popular, I feel. But again, not something I need. These shades are, again, nothing new to me, and I don't necessarily need this in my life at all. And those were all of the releases already, so let me know in a comment down below what makeup releases stood out to you, what are things you want to get. I'm just over all of the new blush releases, especially because I have so many beautiful blushes already. I'm like, and now that I've decluttered everything and I can see everything again in my makeup collection, it makes me so happy to open up my makeup drawers again and select new products. You're gonna see what that drawer looks like very, very soon already, because I will be filming my Shop My Stash in like for Tuesday already, so then I always open up my top drawer and show you everything. So the difference, if you saw my last Shop My Stash, the difference between that and now, I'm super proud of myself. I think I pretty much cut my makeup collection in half. There's so much that's gonna go. It's insane. And normally whenever I declutter, I instantly have this feeling of like, oh, but I can't get rid of that, or oh, I can't get rid of that. So I always leave the box with all of my decluttered makeup sitting in a corner of my house, and I don't look at it for a while. And then when I decide I'm ready to like gift everything to friends and family, I go through it once more, and that's when I usually pull things. But very often I already know exactly going into that process of like making little piles for people to give away. I already know what I want to keep for myself again, and this time I don't have that feeling. I don't have that feeling. Maybe once I edit all of my declutters that I do feel that way. I'm not entirely sure yet, but yeah, my declutters are going to start in March, starting Thursday. I have 6 of them in total, and then I have 2 videos that are sort of like spin-offs, because I will be rearranging my Natasha Denona palettes that I already owned. I rearranged them into Better For Me color stories a while ago, like that, but I wanted to put them back into order in the way they came. So I did a video filming that, and I then also, whenever I declutter my makeup, I clean up my makeup organizers and I put everything back into the drawers, and I filmed that process for you as well. So that's everything that I have for you today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Thumbs up this video if you liked it, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. I hope you have a really good Sunday. Take care, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.